You said your wife is headed to Vegas. Do you like Vegas, Cody Jinks? Are you a Vegas fan?
Love it.
What do you love about it?
Love
Are you a
Vegas, man.
gambler?
Yeah. I love playing blackjack. I'm not like a I don't play a lot of different games. Like I don't know how to play poker at all. I'm not a roulette guy or craps guy or anything like that. But man, I'll sit at a blackjack table all night.
Now, do you study blackjack, or are you just like go for it, or do you play by the book and the rules, especially when you're at a table with strangers and you're just sitting down in Vegas? Do you play like, you always split eights, you split aces, you don't hit a hard 16, all that kind of stuff? Do you play by the book?
I like to see how everybody else is playing, and I'm very much the guy at the table that goes, "Hey, I'm not the smartest guy at the table, so if I'm about to make a stupid mistake, man, somebody be like, "Hey, dude, don't do that," or whatever, or you look at everybody else's cards because, that's what I tell people too, especially younger blackjack players too. It's like it's a team sport, man. We're all playing against the dealer.
What's the biggest hand you've ever bet if it's not too personal? I've seen like $75,000 hands when I'm walking through
No,
Vegas.
no. I do like to gamble, and I've got a lot of vices. Gambling isn't one of them. Biggest hand at one time, probably 2 or 3 grand at once.
Oh, that's still
That's but
pretty
that's
stout.
I mean that's a lot of money, bro. I remember I remember not having $2 or $3 in my life many times, but I understand, $2,000 or $3,000 is a pretty big hand, but I've only done that like once. And usually if a hand starts getting up in the 400 or 500 range, that's when I usually kind of tap out.
Are you a Are you a scared gambler? The reason I don't do it, I'm born and raised in Reno, and I went to college at UNLV in Vegas. Are you a scared gambler? The reason I don't do it is because I don't want to lose $20 to something that's just going to build another big ass casino. Do you get scared? Do you get hesitant, or are you a competitive guy that goes all in?
No, I'm not scared, but I'm also not really the competitive guy that goes all in. I look at it like I'm paying for my entertainment essentially. People go to Vegas to go see well, my wife's going to see the Dixie Chicks tonight with her sister and a friend. And so people go do things like that. People go to Vegas to see the shows. People go to Vegas to do the thing. I figure my gambling is like paying for entertainment, man. If I sit down and lose $400 or $500, I'm going to spend that going to see Tom Jones or whatever, or ZZ Top or something. So, but I don't gamble that much. I'm one of those guys. Like if I'm going to go sit down at a table, I'll take 2 or 3 grand, and
When it's gone, it's
and
gone, or if you win, you win.
yeah, yeah. I'm very. I mean, it's done after that. And in my lifetime sitting at tables, I'm probably about even, brother. To be honest with you.
So you said a concert your wife's going to see tonight that is not going to be labeled what you term them as on the billboard. Will they always be the Dixie
Oh,
Chicks to Cody Jinks?
I didn't even think about that, man. I did. Yeah, it's hard to. It's hard to get that out of my. It doesn't bother me that they're the chicks now. I couldn't really care less, and I don't think my wife and sister-in-law and their friend really cares either. They're going to jam out, but Dixie chicks, whatever, man. They're always going to be the Dixie chicks in my mind.
As far as we had this discussion a year or so ago, and part of our discussion was female artists. As far as raw talent goes, songwriting and harmony and putting together a great country music album, weren't they awesome? Or what is your opinion about their overall music before all of the politics came into it?
I think they're one of the best bands that's ever graced country music. If you want to be, I mean, I don't have any reason to kiss their ass. I don't have any reason to kiss anybody's ass, but they're badass. When they came out, man, everybody was like, whoa, these ladies are killer, man. They're great instrumentalists. They're fantastic performers. They're fantastic songwriters. They're a real band. That was a real band. And, that's what you respect in this business.
Do you consider, like, as far as like originality, like you have very original skills when it comes to songwriting and the way that you possess the stage, you've developed a cult following. when you think of country music today, it's almost like it's a cookie cutter deal to me. Like, did it end? Did it end, Cody, in the late '80s and the early '90s, all through '90s country? Did the real time of country music end? Besides guys like you, or is there still some troubadours out there that are keeping it real on the, I don't even know what you call it. Is it the commercial scene? Is it the Nashville scene? Or is there any realism left in country music or country music radio, in your opinion?
There's country music left, and true country music never went away. It's kind of like the punk scene or the metal scene or whatever. You're not hearing a lot of the really good young punk bands or metal bands or whatever kind of genre specific you want to be. I do believe that country specifically on the commercial side took a harder nosedive than anybody else did. Was it dissolved in the late 90s? That's when, late 90s, early 2000s, when you started really seeing the awful music showing up, being, under the guise of being country music. But guys like me were always out there, and girls like me were always out there. I think that true music's always going to be there no matter what. It's just, is it going to be commercial? If so, when? And I've been very fortunate. I think timing has a lot to do with it. I think if I was 10 years older or 10 years younger, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. I would have been too early or too late, just for my particular situation. But you're always going to have true music out there. And you're seeing it now with Aaron Viancourt's and Josh Malloy's and Charles Wesley's. And I could go on and name you five more young artists that, thank God, are coming in and doing it the right way and writing great songs. And it's important to them to go out and tour on those songs. And they're not just trying to make records to make records. They're trying to make great records.
When you have success on all kinds of levels in this music, in my opinion. One of the things that you did last year that was huge was the event in Ohio with Luke Combs. Talk to me a little bit about that. Are you a Luke Combs fan, a friend? Do you respect his songwriting skills? Do you respect the path he took to his career? And does it give you joy to see the size of his audiences? And is that something that you strive for? Because your audience, you're sold out everywhere you go. Is there like a stadium tour, back into your question and end it with, is there a chance for a Cody Jinks stadium tour in the next 5 years? But when you see that large of a crowd that you did that day in Ohio, did it make you go, man, Luke, congratulations, you did it?
A lot of parts to that question. I'll try to remember all of them. Going into that show, we were direct support for Luke that day. I had not ever met Luke, and don't really know a lot about his songs. So in respecting him as a songwriter and all that kind of stuff, sure, Luke's a smart guy. I got to meet him after the show. My wife and I went up on the bus and got to visit, man. We sat up there for probably 30, 45 minutes and just talked shop. So, Luke's a super down to earth guy. And I left that night being a fan of his just because he's a good dude. And, if everybody sounded like me or wrote like me, it would be really boring. But I watched his show and his band and crew, no joke, that's as kind and warm band and crew we've played with in a long time. They treated us so well, and they were so gracious, and everybody in their organization was wonderful. So I do look at that 75,000 people we were in front of that day and say, damn, dude, congratulations. You know why? Because you're just a country boy. You ain't too pretty. You're just a big old country boy that likes to wear his fishing shirts and get out there and play country music. So, we didn't advertise this, but we were trying to get another one with him. Not too long ago, there was a chance that we might get another one because they called up and said, hey, by chance, could y'all do this? And I said, absolutely, we'll play with Luke again.
I love the way you answer it because I spend so much of my time not listening to the country music radio or the commercial country. Like I'm really, really stuck on Whiskey Myers and Cody Jinks and Adam Hood and Brent Cobb and guys that like Brent's on tour with Luke right now. And my I don't know what the goal of Brent Cobb is because he's so simple and like doesn't even live in Nashville. He's like you. He's not even doesn't even care. He just writes his songs. But there's part of me that wants you guys to blow up so bad. Not that you haven't. Please don't ever take what I say that way because your career is amazing. But there's just this part of me that wants the Brent Cobbs of the world to be heard by the millions. Like his songs are so relevant to me and your songs are so relevant. Like that, when I asked you at the end of that question, is it a goal of yours for it to get that big? Or are you happy with the space that you're in right now and that's it? Because I saw your post about whiskey and cigars and your entrepreneurial spirit and businesses and branding happening. But what about the music, Cody Jinks? How big are we going to see Cody Jinks get in the next 5 years, let's say?
That's tough, and that is one of the parts of the question I forgot to answer. I don't know. The answer to that is I don't know if we'll ever see me doing a stadium tour. I didn't think we'd get to where we are now, in terms of obviously being independent and doing things the way we did it and going about things the way we have has, been kind of against the current, so to speak. So when we started playing, I'm the type of guy that when I'm headlining, the biggest stuff I'm headlining is usually 15 to 20,000. And that's big. That's a lot of people, I mean, on a normal night, we're normally playing for 3, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15,000, depending on what market we're in. So, one of these days after say all the branding stuff and we're going to try to get we're going into marijuana company, liquor. We're going into all kinds of stuff that I like to do because I don't like to tour as much anymore, but still doing like 50 to 60 shows a year, but I have to stay busy. So what we're going to try to do is try to incorporate all those things into the shows that I'm doing. And if those shows start to get bigger, which for some reason, man, I'm going to be 43 this year and my career is still doing this. And normally at 43, man, you start kind of doing that a little bit. Yeah. And so I don't know what the hell's going to happen, to be honest with you. I would welcome it. I guess if my management came and said, hey, bro, you don't know how this happened, but we're going to put you up on a string of stadium tours, I'd be like, all right, man, let's go. Do I think that's going to happen? I don't know. Not tomorrow.
Well, speaking of marijuana, Cody Jinks, a guy that I've had the pleasure of meeting and watching probably 20 times, Willie Nelson just turned 90. Can you see Cody Jinks at 90 still getting up on the stage and picking the guitar and singing Cowboys and Hippies and It Must Be the Whiskey? I mean, can you imagine this type of career? Because your cult following is there, bro. Like no matter where you go, you have that following for the rest of your career. You've built it and it's well deserved. Can you imagine 90 years old Cody Jinks still getting up and doing it? Waylon was in his 60s when he passed. Merle wasn't in his 80s yet. Christofferson's still there. Johnny passed in his early 70s, I believe. Don Williams is gone. John Prine's gone. Willie Nelson is 90 years old still on stage. Can you imagine?
No, I can't imagine anybody living like, he Willie quit drinking a long time ago, and just went to smoking and obviously he's still around because of that. But, he drank a lot from what I've heard, but, I can't imagine being 90 and doing anything. I mean, like, dude, I can't imagine being 90, much less sitting there and playing those songs and remembering those songs and, picking that guitar. And, my mother and father-in-law just went to see him. He was out in Abilene at the Outlaws and Legend. There's a little plug for you, Mark Powell. And they said he got up on stage and like he was sitting down, but just rocked it, man. Wow. Like 90. Who cares, man? Like, dude, 90 years old. Like I said, I can't imagine doing anything at 90. I mean, golly, dude, I hope to make it as long as in my 70s still playing. That seems pretty realistic, but after that, golly.
It's going to be Willie Nelson and Keith Richards, man. When the whole world's gone, it's going to be those two sitting there.
And share.
And share. Changing clothes every other song. Hey, I got to ask you this, because in the 90s when I was in college, and I'm still a huge music guy. I love good rock. I love Guns N' Roses. I was a Guns N' Roses groupie, but on the country music side, I was Jerry Jeff Walker, Dwight Yoakam. But on the mainstream side, in that Hat Pack and the Travis Tritts, who I watched you with in Texas last year, which was an unbelievable show at Is it Peanuts? Was that place called Peanuts up in Austin?
Was it Pooties?
No, it was in Austin. Outside of Austin, it was an amphitheater, like an old school. That place is awesome. Peanut Browns or something, I thought it was called.
Oh, Nutty Browns.
Nutty Brown. Nutty. I had the nut
it was at the Nutty Brown. Yeah,
but go ahead. Sorry.
No, that was one of the last. We did 2 nights with Travis there, and actually that was the first night we ever played with Aaron Vinecourt. So it was Aaron, Travis, and us those 2 nights. By the way, Travis Tritt is freaking awesome. Like, that guy hadn't missed anything. That guy could still out sing anybody. He's a freaking rad guitar player. But even more importantly, the 2 nights we played with Travis, both nights we played, he requested that I come up on his bus and sit down and chat with him. And we just talked about music and life and great dude.
Yeah, that's the energy that I get out of him when I'm listening to him. He's been on this podcast before, and I'm just like, man, what a cool career. But again, Erin that night, I bought a shirt and I love her music. So that's awesome that you help. And I'm not saying that you're the one that's guiding these artists' careers, but it's really cool that I've seen other artists bring artists out on the road. Like when Zach Brown brought Sturgill out, and I was like, who in the hell is Sturgill Simpson? And then I was like, wow, that dude's legit. And Zach made a comment to me on the boat that morning of like, this is like what Jamie Johnson was going to be. Like, this is Jamie, because Jamie's my favorite of all time, and Zach knows that. And he made this comment of like, Sturgill is right there in the songwriting realm. And I don't know if you agree with that, but where I'm going with this is these artists like Aaron coming up right now. Is it something that you have an ear for, Cody? How does that start? Do they contact you? I'm going into the Clint Black. That's where I started with my 90s deal. But now when we start talking about the Nutty concert with Travis Tritt, how does that happen when you see a young artist like that? Do you reach out to them because you see something in them? Do they reach out to you because you're one of their idols? How does it happen to where all of a sudden she's getting to open for Cody Jinks?
I'll tell you case specific, and you just said Jerry Jeff Walker, so I'm going to cite Jerry Jeff Walker. She grew up on Jerry Jeff Walker. So anyway, I heard about her. My manager, we have the same manager, Arthur Penhollow, and he found her in Nashville. She was working at 3rd and Lindsley. He said, you got to listen to this woman. And she didn't have anything out. She had like two recordings that were on YouTube that you could go look. The quality was good, but it was just a couple things on YouTube. And we were looking for an opener for those shows. And I said, call Erin up. I said, see if she can do it, And at that time, I didn't really know her. I said, but, I'm always into giving younger artists a shot. And, I think that that's a cool thing to do. And you're not always going to win, but, sometimes really cool stuff happens. Come to find out, that's the first show she had played with a full band in front of 2,500 people, and had just put that band together and got up on stage and killed it both nights. And I had no idea that she was so green. And so she plays, and I'm watching her set, right? And she's playing Don't It Make You Want to Dance. And she gets off stage. And so this is kind of a long way to answer your question. How do I spot this? How did I see this? Whatever. She got off stage and I walked up and I go, you played Don't It Make You Want to Dance. I said, I grew up listening to Rusty Weir. I love that song. I love, that whole record's great, all this stuff. And she goes, yeah, but I do it the Jerry Jeff way. And I was like, I love you. I love you so much. This is so cool. She's
man.
at the time she's 26 years old, right? And I'm sitting here going, she's like, oh yeah, Rusty's original version was good, but I do it Jerry Jeff's way. And I'm sitting here thinking, man, this young she's really going to be good. And I was listening to her songs. So she has kind of that older school kind of vibe going. It's like everybody that hears her play, it's kind of like that 70s and 80s kind of thing, It's just kind of how how she rides. It's kind of how she's geared. She's very traditional, like way more traditional than I am. In fact, I mean, we rock out pretty hard, a lot of times, but yeah, it's been fun for that. So, watching her and watching her over the last really year and a half, taking her out on the road a lot. She's been chasing my buses around.
Was there any conversation between you and her before the actual invite to open?
No.
Wow, what a freaking what a phone call to get from her manager, from you. Was it you personally or her manager?
No, it was Arthur, who at the time I don't even think was managing her yet. I just say, I said I heard something when she was singing.
Wow.
And I said, let's throw her to the wolves. I didn't realize, in fact, how fast we did throw her to the wolves in terms of, just throwing a baby in the deep end in their diaper. That's what we did. And she handled it, shouldered it, was graceful, and had all the its to make the it factor. She works her ass off. She's young. She's hungry. She's kind. She's got all the tangibles, all the boxes that, as I was looking to sign my first artist for Late August Records, she had all the boxes checked. And so she was a natural fit, and timing had a lot to do with that as well.
Wow. Can you, excuse me, could you imagine 26 years old? And I know you can, because you've been there, but you're opening for arguably one of the hottest country music acts in the country right now. For sure you are. But before you go on, she's opening for the guy that used to sing duos with Waylon. And he is maybe responsible for bringing the Eagles back together. And he's probably got the best version of an Eagles cover that I've ever heard. There's several on that record. But when standing on a corner and wins, the way Travis Tritt hits that song, I'm just like, wow, that's all. But I mean, Travis Tritt's waiting on his bus to come on stage after her, and she's out there doing Jerry Jeff Walker and some originals. What a night. And that, like what a feeling to get that phone call and then be able to get up there and be like, I did it 2 nights in a row. Like, I'd never even met these guys in this band barely, and we're jamming together. What a feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And, at 26, no, I didn't know what that felt like. I had never done, maybe I did. I guess when I was maybe 26, 27, I opened for Miranda at the state fair. And that was back when I pulled up in a Dodge Ram, so I don't know. I guess it's kind of, things like that are surreal, as they say, though, the rest is history. Cause, she proved that she deserves to be up there, with anybody. And, Miranda has been proving that since she was a teenager. So,
what a shot of adrenaline, though. Just gosh dang, what a shot of adrenaline. That's like going out. That's like going out and killing a 190 when you're a 12-year-old deer hunter, or a limit of greenheads when you first hunt. You get spoiled.
Well, Travis, Travis is arguably one of the best we've ever had. I'm arguably one of the most hard-headed this business has ever seen. So, I hope for her opening that show was kind of cool. I didn't realize that this is the first time she had ever done anything like that at all. So
what's funny about that show cool. is I'm wearing that shirt probably, I think that concert was in September, maybe. It might be a month later. Yes, I'm in Nashville, Tennessee, headed to Lynchburg to do the Jack Daniel's Invitational Barbecue. I'm going to judge it. I'm at Losers in Midtown. I don't know. You've been here, I'm sure, right? I'm in Losers, and a girl walks up to me with her boyfriend, and I can't make this up. They're like, I love her music, and I'm wearing that. It's kind of like a '70s look logo of her name written across the front chest of the shirt, in the rainbow colors. Yeah. So anyway, they're like, I love her music. And I'm like, man, it's getting out there. Cause I downloaded her stuff and listened to her. I love her. I'd love a chance to meet her someday and talk, because there's something about that Guy Clark, Jerry Jeff Walker, Mr. Bojangles, that whole thing. And I used to go to Austin every year for Jerry Jeff's birthday party and go to the Paramount Theater and go to the Broken Spoke and then go to the Lukenbach Sunday. And it was bring your own beer on the bus. And when Jerry died, I was just like, oh gosh, dang it, man. That's a piece of my life, because from the late 80s all the way through until he passed, and still I listen to him every day. But man, I saw him live so many times. So to have a female that is reminiscent of that, I think is key. And I'd love to have some conversations with her. But let me ask you this. What does the lyrics of Nothing's News mean? When I listen to that song, is it about a know-it-all that nothing's bothering him? Like, you can't tell him anything? Like, when you covered that, first of all, thank you, because that is the best Clint Black song, in my opinion, again, of all time. It is one of the best country. It's one of the best country music songs lyrically. Like Almost Home with Craig Morgan, I think, is an unbelievably written country music song. I think Jamie's got some that just hits you in the stomach. There's a lot of them, don't get me wrong. But Nothing's News. Cody Jinks, what does it mean, and why did you pick this one to cover? Because it is genius. This song is genius. And the only songwriter on it, correct me if I'm wrong, is Clint Black.
Yeah, actually, man, the story behind that song, and not just us cutting it, but the story behind the song, I'll tell you, and I'll give you a brief version of. I've got to hear Clint tell this story a few times, and I love the way he tells it, because Clint is, first of all, everything that I said about Travis Tritt a while ago. Clint is that, and Clint and I have actually become friends. I can call Clint Black my friend now. He's so great, and his family's so great. And we had a lot of fun last year when we were touring together. And so I got to hear him tell his story, because the first time I got to hear him tell his story, it was on a three-way call between me, Ward Davis, and Clint about 5 years ago. And he's telling us the story, and it goes like this. He says, he's about 22 years old, 21, 22 years old. And he'd been playing music. He'd been in rock and roll bands and, all that kind of stuff, doing what you do when you're that age. But he goes to his dad and he says, he's like, Dad, I'm going to write songs. And his dad's like, you need to do a little bit more living before you can write a song. Who's going to want to listen to, what you have to say, you being so young and everything. Anyway, Clint went and wrote Nothing's News, first song he wrote.
No way.
22 years old. Yeah, he wrote that song 40 years ago. So he goes back and he plays this song for his dad. And his dad was like, oh, okay. Yeah. So anyway, there's the story of how that happened. He's like, well, you might have something there, young man. So anyway, Clint writes this song, and then we all know Clint's an amazing, he's a triple threat guitarist, amazing guitar player, amazing singer, amazing songwriter. He starts writing, obviously. And we call him up and we say, hey, we want to do your song, but we want you to sing on it. And so he told us this story and this and that. But to answer your other question about what does the song itself mean to me, it's talking about, we all know him. It's the guy sitting at the bar that's like, he's a pretty good dude, but he just sits at the same bar all, every day. And he's the guy that slaps you on the back. No, that old dude. And sometimes he's a pain in the ass, and sometimes he's not. And sometimes he gets too wordy. And sometimes you have to be like, hey, Bob, you need to sit down, man. Look, I don't need to kick you out tonight. I bartended for years, man. I knew the guy he was writing the song about, so that's why we really love the song. And the idea came whenever Ward Davis and I were sitting in his van smoking weed before a show, listening to Clint Black talking about how that record in particular is one of the finest country music records ever recorded.
when you say record, is that an accumulation of the songs on it, or are you talking about that certain song?
Great question. Thank you for asking that, because people aren't in the business of making great records anymore. Great records, you put the whole damn thing in and don't skip songs. I know we have this, the clickbait society. It's like, dude, I could put a song up online right now for 99 cents and have 100,000 people buy it today. Right? I don't do that though, because I would rather give you something that I've been working my ass off. Every song is complete. Every song is a song that I feel like I could open the record with that song, you know? So yes, a collection of a bunch of great songs, you know, not just, oh man, we got 2 songs, man. This thing's going to sell. It's going to sell. It's got 10 songs. Yeah. 8 of them suck, but man, those 2 are hits, you know? We don't do that. You know, Clint doesn't do that. And that's why I love and admire him so much.
As far as these bodies of work that you put out, last one being Mercy, the title song was written by our mutual friend Adam Hood. He was ecstatic about being part of it. As far as the bodies of work go, Cody Jinks, how, as an artist, do you, I guess, navigate your stage presence and your live show when you put out these records as a whole? You get a record out there, and your fans listen to it and they're like, oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. That one's okay. I love it. How do you, as an artist and a band, how do you pick the songs? Is it because of the hits or the downloads they get and you know that's what the audience wants to hear? How do you know what's going to keep that audience's attention? How do you know when to do a slow song and then pick it up a little bit? Like, take me through that process a little bit and tell the audience of, like, how does a Cody Jinks show get put together when you don't put out those teasers and those singles? You put out records and works of art, bodies of art for the world to listen to, one song at a time from beginning to end. The old school would be A side, B side. Okay. How does that go? Take us through that process.
A lot of different factors, really. You know, it's not by happenstance we play what we play. It's a well-oiled machine. My band is at rehearsal right now, and my band will be at rehearsal tomorrow, and then I will join for the 3rd day of rehearsal. So, man, we work our asses off. We look at the data, we look at the numbers. I can tell you right now that there are 15 songs I have to play every night. If I play those 15 songs, I can do whatever else I want to do. But there's 15 songs that I have to play, and it's the usual suspects. It's the ones that you're thinking of: Cast No Stones and Hippies and Cowboys and No Words and Mama,
Whiskey.
Loud and Heavy, Somewhere in the Middle, Fast Hand. You know, the hits, all the big ones. And we typically we go over 90 minutes. Usually we go closer to 2 hours, but we typically play 26 to 28 songs a night, depending on how mouthy I get. They're not mouthy, but you know, how talky I'm feeling, which I usually don't talk a lot. We try to get as many in there as we can, but I play those 15, and then we change the other 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of them. We change those out usually once a year, and we'll rotate some older maybe B-sides in that I just still love playing. But you know, the fun thing about what we do is that now we have too many songs that I'm like, I wish we could play that. I wish we could play that. I wish we could play that, which is a really great problem to have. And now, you know, we're about to wrap up a recording cycle. Right now, we started working on what's going to be our new record that'll come out this fall, probably October, November-ish. We started working on it in November of last year, and we've recorded about 20, and we have some absolute monsters. And we started playing one called Change the Game, and we just recorded another one that we know is going to be freaking huge. And so Josh, our bass player, he's been with me 16 years, man, my right-hand man, my band leader. I called him up the other day, and I was going over the set list and all the usual suspects and plugging this here. You know, what do you think about this here, this here, this here? By the way, I know we're already doing Change the Game, which is probably what the record's going to be called. I said, but what about this one that we just cut? We just cut it like 2 weeks ago. And he goes, no, not yet, Cody. We got to wait, man. You can't just go dumping all the new great stuff out, But I'm like, no, dude, this song is so freaking cool. But yeah, that's a long-winded answer. So we got to do those 15, and then after that, I do whatever the hell I want.
So pretty soon you're going to start getting into what I call the George Strait, dilemma of somebody's going to be leaving a Cody Jinks concert pissed off because they didn't hear the song they came there to hear. They're going to have a great time, but they're going to want to hear that one. And you're getting so many hits that those 15 are not going to be suffice probably to keep everybody happy, huh, Cody?
It's funny because like once you get to that part of your career, George has had over 60 number ones. Look, so take like two of my favorites of all time are Metallica and George Strait, right? I mean, I can remember waiting in line the same day back when you had to go to Ticketmaster and wait at the mall. Yeah. Waiting in line the same day for Metallica tickets at Texas Stadium and George Strait tickets at Texas Stadium. When you start getting to where you have that much, you start touring on 2 or 3 different sets sometimes. Bruce Springsteen, he'll do it too. He'll play all these songs one night and then all these songs the next night. It's like you can't play 60 number one songs a night. You can't do it. It's impossible. You can't sing that many songs. You could, You're just not going to be able to sing for the next 3 days,
Hey, let me ask you this, and I don't know if you'll answer this because I don't want this to be you going, I can't be put on the spot, but as an artist, what is your opinion? And if you just say, I don't want to answer that, that's fine. What is your opinion of Eric Church when you start talking about a guy that can go multiple nights and sing different songs and have that kind of, he did it a couple years ago where he did a back-to-back tour, and I went to it one night, and a lot of the songs on the second night were not the same ones he sang on the first night. What is your opinion overall of him? Even though with his radio success, does he hold a candle as maybe going down as one of the Mount Rushmores or one of the GOATs? Or is he, well, how does he work? How does he fit into the Cody Jinks ranking?
I can tell you this. I've never met Eric, but we've signed on to do 4 shows with him and later this year. And I don't sign on to do shows with people that I don't like. Like I'm not going to sign on and do 4 shows with, and this isn't anybody's, I'm not even going to name any names. I could name most of them. I wouldn't. But I can tell you right now that there's 3 of them that I can just think offhand.
Can I guess? Can I guess?
3 of the big male Nashvilles right now that I would tell you that I would go play with.
Stapleton?
Yes.
Stapleton?
I wouldn't even consider. I would totally go with Stapleton. I love Chris. I wouldn't consider him. I'm considering him. He's different, man. He's a soul singer, man. He's too good. He's got too much soul. Yeah.
Okay. So Eric Church,
mm-hmm.
Nashville guys right now that you would go sign on with.
Eric we already talked about one of them.
We did?
Luke.
Okay. Luke Combs, Eric Church, and it's got to be at that stat. The only one that I think is country enough, and I don't know what you think of him, but I'm going to say John Party. I don't know if he's there or not.
Cody Johnson.
Oh shit, Cody Johnson. He is the spawn of Garth Brooks, the original Garth Brooks and Chris Ledoux. Is that kind of fair to say?
I love it, man. I played with Cody a bunch. We cut our teeth at the same places coming up, and he just love him and his family, and I don't get to see him as much as I used to, but yeah, man, he's up there in that echelon of
wow, what a compliment.
Are doing it the right way. Eric's there, Luke's there, Cody's there. I can't think of 3 more of the biggest authentic. You could consider Party's pretty traditional, yeah. But as far as the kind of stuff I lean to, it'd be those guys.
How does this work now? When you have your status and you're proven and you've done it, how do you get in the room with Eric? Is it a goal? Is it something that just happens organically? Do you hope that phone call comes to where I know that you get to go and play with him now, but would you want to get in the room and write with him? Because when I hear songs that a lot of his songs, I go, wow, man, that is freaking songwriting at its finest. Like record year. Like I'm like, holy geez, like, how did you pick the artist that you name in the song? How do you come up with that? That's so clever and witty. But how is it a goal of somebody like Cody Jinks to get in the room, or is it just like, well, if it happens, it happens?
If it happens, it happens. You know, I don't even know how the shows came to be. I think that they said, "Hey, y'all want to come jam?" And we were like, "Yeah, man, we'll come jam." You know, I know that there's paperwork involved and stuff like that, but it really was as simple as my manager was like, "Hey, man, you know, you do a string with church." I said, "Sure, absolutely."
But
Yeah,
again,
man,
real quick, Cody, sorry to interrupt you, but just like you said, you're not going to sign on if you don't believe in that artist. Eric believes in you, right? It's vice versa.
yeah, it's a compliment because a lot of guys and girls won't ask me to go play with them, and it's because we're not in the game. You know, we're not in their social networks and their circles, and don't do the Nashville thing. But you know, I think it's really respectful and respectable and commendable that guys like Eric and Luke that have earned the right to say no. Like, we want Jinx to come out and jam with us. You know, we want so and so to come jam with us. You know, I think that that's super nice, super cool. You know, it means a lot to me. I'm not going to sit here and be like, well, yeah, man, we deserve to be with those guys. Nobody, let me tell you something. Nobody deserves to be on that stage. You earn that stage. I don't care who the hell you are. So to have people of that echelon, saying, hey, we want this misfit from Fort Worth to come do some shows with us, man. That's cool.
I think it's freaking awesome. Let me ask you this now, thinking about those nights with Eric Church and Luke Combs, and then you come back and you're headlining your own tour. When it comes to the substances of the old adage of sex, drugs, rock and roll, you're a married, committed man. You love rock and roll. You love heavy metal. You actually have a heavy metal band. I love the music. I love Metallica. I love the old Metallica. God, did I love Master of Puppets and Ride the Lightning. And you love
the new one's great, dude. Lux Eterna.
Great. But there was a couple that missed. There was a couple that missed for me, but that's fine. That's neither here nor there. You agree, maybe? But you love to drink beer. You've talked about starting your own distillery and Cody Jinks whiskey. Don't know what the final name of it's going to be. You've talked about partaking in marijuana. What is it normal stage for you? I've been around bands that nothing can happen before the encore's done and the party can start. How is it with the Cody Jinks and the band? You're professionals. You're up there to do a job. You're up there to entertain a crowd. They've paid hard-earned money to come see your show. You respect that. Now, you got to go play in front of the Eric Church crowd and that kind of deal, and you respect that, and you're honored to do that. How does that work in your mentality of, is there like none at all? Do you have to get a little to be relaxed? How do you maintain that balance of not going out on stage and absolutely blowing it because of substance? And I know that I'm not trying to say that you ever overdo it, but how do you do that in a lifestyle that it's so easily available all the time?
There's 7 of us in our band, and when we walk on stage, all 7 of us are sober.
Wow.
I can tell you, my rider, this is every day. Every day, my rider consisted of 2/5 of Maker's Mark, 5 cases of Miller Lite every day. And we would go through it. And we did that for a long time. And in the recording process, we used to have a pallet of beer brought in. We used to have giant boxes of whiskey handles brought in. We started getting older and slowing down and knowing that, man, we're up here, we're a bar band. I keep telling people that all the time. It's like, dude, we're a bar band. We're just a bar band that happened to have made it, so you're a bar band. You're just sitting up there taking all the shots that people are bringing to you. Then you wake up one day and you're 40 and you're thinking, holy moly, we got to slow this down. And, making better life decisions. And most of us are husbands or fathers or both. And, we want to be able to do this for a long time. So, like I said a while ago, at 43, my trajectory is still going up. And, man, I gotta hang on to it. And, I smoke a lot more weed now than I do drink. I really don't touch hard liquor, much anymore. So, if we do the whiskey thing, that's going to be something I'm going to be very involved in, because I can tell you exactly what I think is good and what I don't, but I don't drink it a lot anymore. I cut way back on my beer. Hell, this is the first Miller Lite I've drank in days, man. I normally drink that 64 now. So, the sex and the drugs and the rock and roll thing, man, for me, it was drugs and rock and roll for a while. And I consider alcohol a drug. The sex part, man, that was taken care of at home. My wife, she's been with me since she was 16 years. We were 16. She was at the first show I ever played.
Wow,
that was about
cool.
about 4,000 or 5,000 shows ago when I was 17 years old. So, and she was at the last one I played, which was the Houston Rodeo, for 62,000. So she's always been there to cover the sex part. The drugs and the rock and roll, my 20s and 30s were, it was game on. You gotta grow up sometime. So fortunately, those of us that do realize you have to grow up sometime, get out of it and walk on stage sober. Now we're old.
That adage of game on, Cody. Would you want your kids to live that same type of decade that you did in your 30s? Now would you say, hey, life is life and it could happen, but would you sit there and say, don't do this, partake a little bit and learn your lesson, whatever, but would you be a little bit stern and say, look, you don't want to go down that road that you did in the 30s? Did it get that hyped up? Was it that out of control? Or I guess my question, Cody Jinks, is how do you parent when you've lived this lifestyle that not many men get to live? Like, I'm not saying that it's out of reach or you're untouchable, but it's a cool lifestyle. Let's not sugarcoat this. Going from being a bouncer at Billy Bob's Texas in the stockyards of Fort Worth to being one of the most recognized country voices out there and selling out crowds all over the country, that's a cool lifestyle. And more power to you and congratulations. But how do you parent when you've done some shit that you would probably say, I probably shouldn't have done that? And I know that could be normal, but how do you parent?
Well, I'm very honest with them. They're 13 and 10 now. So they know a lot more than I know. They know a lot, and I know that they know a lot more than I know that they know, because I knew a lot more at 10 and 13 than probably my parents realized I did too. And, so they've been very honest in their questions. We keep a very honest dialogue going at home. We've had the "Dad, what drugs have you done?" talk. We've had, they've grilled me, and just in allowing them to, because I don't want to hide anything from them. The important thing is that they see that I came out of that, and they see that their mother has been a part of my life the whole time, and they understand now that my home life has to be in harmony in order for my professional stage life to be able to work. So I focus on family first, and having said that, just keeping a very open and clear dialogue. And if I can't tell them not to do it, and my daughter, they're both into the arts. My daughter is she's a ballet dancer. And my son plays guitar, and he's convinced he's going to be on stage one day. And so obviously he gets to see it from a very different side. Growing up around it, they don't know. I've been doing this since way before they were born, so they don't know what it's like for me not to be up on stage. And now he comes out and plays guitar with us sometimes, and if it's a show not too far from home, or we just have a couple of days we're going to play. He just did Omaha, Nebraska, and Dubuque, Iowa with us, and came out and played a couple songs. So he gets to see it, but he gets to see it in the regard that, like, all the guys in the band he's known almost his whole life. So he sees how they conduct themselves. He wasn't out there with us 10 years ago. Because we weren't conducting ourselves in the same manner. But my wife, we have a very wife and kid friendly, bring your wives, bring your kids backstage. Like we want that environment. So he gets to see 7 guys go out there sober every night and do their best to try to put on a great show for people that have spent their hard-earned money to come see us play. It's important. I'm teaching him to earn that stage. Nobody's giving it to you. I don't care what your last name is. You ain't riding mine. If you're going to be a badass, you're going to be a badass on your own, man. And just learning to curb yourself and check yourself. If you're drinking too much, stop drinking so much. You're doing too many drugs. We're doing too many drugs. Obviously, I hope my children don't do that. But learn to temper your own self and keep your family focused on your family, and the rest is going to work itself out.
I'm sure with him being on stage, is it fair to say that your daughter and your son are very proud of their dad and they listen to the music? They might not go to school and wear a Cody Jinks shirt, which I know we're getting towards the end of our talk, but I know how the merch part of the Cody Jinks is absolutely mind blowing from what I've witnessed. But do they wear a tattoo of you, not a physical one, but are they proud that Cody Jinks is their dad and his music and his career? Or are they so humble that it doesn't even affect them when they're at school and in public places?
It's different for both kids. I remember one time we went and I came off of a pretty long run. I hadn't seen my kids in several weeks. And I asked my driver, Nino, I said, can we go pick them up in the bus? So we pulled the bus up. We homeschool now. This has been years ago. We pull the bus up in the carpool lane. We're driving through the carpool lane, and I haven't seen my kids in weeks, right? My son's, I think, in first grade at the time. My daughter, I think, is in like third grade. And they walk out, and my son, his eyes light up like this is the coolest thing ever. It's my dad's bus, this and that. My daughter's head just goes like, she just, I see her shoulders slump, her body
like my
language. Yeah. So, she's 13 now. And for years, she wouldn't tell her last name. She would say her name was Meredith J. And a lot of people thought her name was Meredith J-A-Y. So she didn't have to deal with that. My son was always like, Larson Jinks, yeah, my dad's Cody. It's kind of funny, just the difference between a little boy and a little girl coming up in it. But I remember Kevin Fowler, I was playing a show with Kevin Fowler about 13 years ago. And he said, my daughter just turned 13. And I said, wow, she must think that this is really cool, dude. Because back then Kevin was having some big hits and a lot of success and people recording his songs and this and that. He goes, because I said, I just had a little girl. I just had my first child. She's a little baby girl. And I said, your daughter must just think you're so cool. He goes, let me tell you something, Cody. He goes, nope. He goes, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you are, or how cool you think you are, or how cool everybody else thinks you are. When you have a teenage daughter, so I've seen that, I witnessed that. But when she comes to our shows, she'll wear one of Dad's shirts, and I know she's proud. She won't tell you, but I know she is. So it's. I don't expect them to walk around telling me they think I'm really good. I expect them to walk around thinking that Dad's trying.
How does it happen to where somebody and I don't know, and I don't mean any disrespect by saying this, Cody Jinks, but are you even supposed to play the Houston Rodeo? Is that like normal that somebody with your career gets invited to do that? You hear George Strait. I've seen the big names are up there. The big commercial names are up there. It's 70,000 people. You just said 62,000 people for Cody Jinks. How does it happen? And when you get there, is that the ultimate? When you look out there and see that many people, are you like, we made it? Or is Red Rocks already concreted that thought in your head? How does that come about? And what did that mean to Cody Jinks, being a native Texan, to play arguably the biggest rodeo crowd there is? I don't know if Cheyenne is bigger. I don't know if Calgary Stampedes is bigger, but the Houston Rodeo is a huge country music venue. How did that go down, and what did it mean to you?
It's not something I really thought would happen or really had entertained. And I did a news interview for one of their local news stations that day, and the reporter asked me the same thing, and I was like, she's like, being a Texas boy and kind of with Europe, how you came up and all that. Would you ever have expected to headline in the Houston Rodeo? And I said, no. I wouldn't, just because of the way we did things. Not because I didn't feel like we were deserving, because like I said, you never deserve a stage, you earn a stage. But did we earn it? I guess we did. And I'm really, really proud of that. And I'm proud that, that we did get to go up there and play that big stage where, I know who's played there. Red Rocks is special in a different kind of way. That's one of the best places to play, just sound wise and just the way it feels and just how cool it is. That's a wonderful, wonderful thing. But, being a guy that was born and raised in Texas and have played more small town rodeos, county fairs than I can remember, on the back of car haulers, set up in the corner somewhere and under a one of those makeshift 4-posted umbrella things.
Yeah.
Those were the rodeos I started playing. On a deadgum flatbed trailer, still hooked up to the truck sometimes. So Houston was pretty rad in that regard.
Talk to me. I got 2 more thoughts before I let you go, Cody Jinks. Thank you so much for being here. But talk to me about your merch. I don't know if there's more worn merch across the country. Like, I go to a lot of events I'm in Sturgis with Jack Daniels. I'm in, different festivals or different outdoor events. And I see a lot of Cody Jinks merch. Is this something that you have a finger on? Are these designs out of your brainchild because you go to an artist and say, this is what I'm thinking? How did you get to where somebody wanted so bad to stand in those long ass lines? I remember over there at Nutty Brown, I was like, dude, these are 75 people deep and there's 5 lines for a booth. Like, this is crazy. It's not normal. I go to a lot of shows, Cody Jinks. It's not normal to see the procession of consistency to pay money to get a Cody Jinks decal or koozie or t-shirt or hat. When did that start? And how does that make you feel now as an artist of going, wow, my merch sales are through the roof?
For the size of artist that I am, the size of band that we are, in terms of where we play and whatnot, we're selling merch numbers that are like stadium numbers, not Taylor Swift numbers or George Strait numbers, but we're still selling really, really big numbers. And there's two main reasons for that. And I'll give you the second reason first. The second reason is because we have a really, really great design team. And we have really great ideas. Skulls always sell. Flames, like, most of our shirts are black. Most of the people that come to our shows are dressed in black. You have a biker sitting next to a cowboy. Most of the time they're both wearing black. Black sells. So we sell a couple of whites and some softer stuff for some of the ladies apparel, but most of the ladies still buy black as well. But we have a really great team. But I can tell you that I think the number one reason why we sell so much merch is because I still think that the people that have, even if they've been coming to see me play for 15, 16, 17, 18 years, 19, 20 years now, some of them, the people that come to see me play, come to see us play, and see, for the most part, the same guys in the band that they've been seeing. I still feel like there's that era of, we're theirs. We're not the big labels, and they found us, and we came and played for them, and we kept coming to play for them, and we got to know them, and we played all the small towns and shitholes and juke joints, and we, that's how we did it. They have a sense of like, they did this with me. They did this with us. And I tell people a lot, because people are like, man, your fans are freaking nuts. Like, there's just your shirts and your caps everywhere, and your merch lines are long. And we had to get a semi truck to start carrying it, which for us, that's huge. And it's like, just have, and I said, these people have been with me for a long time. I said, because I've been with them, that's the thing. I've been out there with them. I stand out there after shows still for an hour or two, almost every night, and talk and visit and listen and talk with them. And they get to tell me about the first time they saw me in some shithole in Bentonville, Arkansas in 2005, or whatever. And I think that's the reason. They just feel like they're emotionally invested because they've done this with us, and nobody else has ever done it like I've done it. Nobody else will ever do it like I've done it. And I think that for that reason, like they hold on to me like this, and it's like this, I'm theirs. They found me, I'm theirs. We found each other. You listen to me, you listen to my music when nobody would. You listen to my music when Nashville wouldn't do anything for me, when they didn't want to, when they considered me unmanageable, when they considered me ungroomable. Just we did this together. I think that's why you see such a ferocity in our fans. I tell people a lot that our fans are like the country music equivalent of Slayer fans. If you've ever been to a Slayer concert, it's intense, man. The Slayer fans are it's a whole different breed, man, and that's what we have. That's what we have. We have Slayer fans in the country genre.
But I don't think there's a better way that was a great description. And I don't think there's a better way to do it. Like the ownership part that they're taking is they don't get paid to go see you. They're paying to see you. They don't get an endorsement deal because you're paying them to wear that shirt. It's like they're part of the band, man. They're the crew. They're not just a fan. They got that AA, that all access pass hanging on their hip, all the time, that crew pass all the time, that friends and family pass. Everybody has that pass at a concert. Not that they all get to come backstage and shake hands with Cody Jinks, but they all feel like they know you. Like I got a great friend named Jason Donnelly, him and his wife. I've reached out to Keith a couple times, and thank you guys so much, but they would travel across the world to see a Cody Jinks show. Like they ran into you on the strip in Vegas and she was speechless. Jason was like, dude, I thought she was going to faint. This was just last December, I believe, during the NFR. I don't know if you remembered running into my big buddy, Jason Donnelly, but he said his wife almost fainted. That's Elvis Presley kind of shit, dude. So like they're taking ownership because they feel like they did find you. And that's a great way to put it. They weren't forced. It wasn't shoved down their throat on 77 turns a day on the local radio station. They had to go out and seek you and find you. And then when you said, we're coming to you, they're like, heck yeah, man. He freaking sees what we saw, and we're part of that dream right now.
Yeah. I remember the first time when we played Madison, Wisconsin, we played for 4 people. Four. Now, all 4 stayed the whole night, but it was 4 people paying a $10 door charge. So they stayed the whole time because they paid their $10. We made $40 the first time we played Madison, Wisconsin. The next time we went back, there were 500 people. Word of mouth. It's word of mouth. If I would have walked in there and said, we saw 4 tickets, pull the show, we're not playing tonight. The next time I went there, I wouldn't have had 500 people.
Nope. How awesome is that? Because you never know who's watching. You like I always like, this is a weird thing to say, but I go into a show, and even if I do know the artist or don't, I get a weird feeling when there's like 8 people there. Like, how are they staying up there? How are they still so into it? It's got to be that mindset that you just described, that you got to give it your all no matter what. You don't know what's going to happen off of that show. And what else are you going to do for 90 minutes? You're going to cancel the show, go get on your bus, have a couple beers, but instead you stay up there. And it blossoms. It's like watering this giant tree that has rooted itself as this Cody Jinks. Like, that's a cool t-shirt design. Like the Cody Jinks root system is like growing into this massive, massive tree. Hopefully, it's a flooded oak tree, Cody Jinks, and there's mallards setting their wings over the top of it. But that Cody Jinks tree is so deeply rooted now because of nights like that in Madison, Wisconsin.
I tell people often that people will come up, young singer-songwriters, aspiring singer-songwriters, or the parents of aspiring singer-songwriters. My son wants to do what you do. My daughter wants to do what you do, or maybe a 17, 18, 19, 21-year-old kid, whatever, comes up and says, how do I do this? What do I do this? I tell them, you don't miss any rungs, okay? Start low, start little, and build your rungs up, because eventually you'll get to a place where you're going to fall down a couple. Well, if you missed all those middle rungs, you're going to go straight back to the bottom. If you built all those rungs in there, then you got a couple, came down a couple, but we can go back up because those rungs are still there. We established that. And I tell them that, and I give them that analogy, and then I'll tell them, like, I didn't learn how to play in front of 500 people or 5,000 people or 50,000 people. I learned how to play in front of 5 on Tuesday nights at 8 Airs in Deep Ellum in Dallas from 10 to 2 p.m. to 8.
Wow.
I mean, like, that's where I learned to play. If you can keep 4 people's attention, you can keep 400's easy, man. If you keep 400, you got 40,000 licked, So it's starting
wow, that's
small,
a great
man.
way. That's a great way to put it, Cody, because most people would think the exact opposite.
No, it's not.
If you could keep 4 people's attention, you're going to have 400 to 40,000 licked, because it's way harder to stay up there and be entertaining enough and not give up on it when it's just 8 eyeballs watching you. I mean, it's 8 eyeballs.
Think about it. If you're in a crowd, okay, if you're in a crowd of 400 people in some rock box that you're going to go see this up and coming band, and everybody's excited, right? There's 400 amped up people in there, or 4,000 amped up people in there. They're feeding off of each other's energy, right? So they're already excited anyway. So then the band comes up. That's even better. I'm excited. You're excited. There's the band. Well, what if there's not a you or me? What if it's just like, I'm kind of standing here by myself watching these guys. I hope this doesn't suck. Those guys have a tall fucking order, bro. Like the guys on stage got a tall order. So that's how I've always viewed that.
Hey, talk to me before we get off, Cody Jinks. The new music, you let it out of the bag a little bit. This album, it's going to come out October, November of 2023. Could be called "Change the Game." What can we expect? Is it 180 degrees different from Mercy? Is it 100% written by you? Are there any covers on it? Are we going to see a guest appearance by Cody Cannon or Brent Cobb or Clint Black? Talk to me a little bit about what the fans can expect come this fall.
As far as guest performances, actually, I'm recording kind of 2 different albums right now, and where I have a concept that I'm not gonna let it out of the bag yet, but I do have people coming in and doing duets with me right now, and we are making a whole record of duets.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so that's pretty fun. But in terms of like what's going to be on, our next release, the next Cody Jinks record, it's probably going to be in the vein of, 12, 13, 14 songs. It will be different than Mercy. Mercy, we dabbled a little more in the rockin' side of stuff for Mercy, which was really fun and a great exercise for us. Because Mercy was really one of those records that I thought, man, this thing's got something for everybody. Like, some slow stuff, some fast stuff, some, I think that was a really good record for even maybe people that didn't like country necessarily. But as for what we've got in the bag right now, and really it's coming down to song selection, we'll go back in June, second week of June, we go back to do the last session for this cycle. And I've got 3 or 4 or 5 more slated that I'm really excited about. It's going to sound like us, brother. I can't say it's either going to be any more country. It's probably going to be a little less rock, to be honest with you. But it's going to sound like us, and that's the cool thing, is that we're old enough now. We've been doing it a long time. This band's been together a long time. Like, we sound like us. It's same guys, a lot of people don't realize in Nashville country game, you have your recording band and you have your recording musicians and you have your road band. Oftentimes those are 2 different entities. I don't have that. I have, we have our band. We just, we do all the recording. So when we go out and play the shows, it's like, oh yeah, that sounds like them. So I think it's going to sound like us.
I can't wait to hear it. Jack Daniels hot seat. If you don't want to answer, just give me the no, sir. I know you're a Miller Lite fan. Bud Light comes to you tomorrow, gives you a multi-million-dollar endorsement deal to be the title sponsor of the next Cody Jinks tour. Do we see Bud Light presents Cody Jinks?
Bud Light's had several opportunities with me through the years. I'm gonna give you this 100% honest. I don't like Bud Light. Bud products give me a headache. So this doesn't have anything to do with their policies or the Dylan Mulvaney thing. It's sad and kind of laughable to me that a grown man, that guy needs help. And I think the person from Anheuser-Busch that pulled the trigger on that is either under administrative leave or not working in there anymore. So that was definitely I don't know what they were doing there, but I always thought Bud products tasted like shit.
Hank Williams Jr.'s camp calls. Is it an automatic yes to be on the stage with Bo Cephas? And please back into your question. Is he floating above the Mount Rushmore of the greatest of all time? Is he the greatest of all time? Is the triple threat, even more than a triple threat? Is Cody Jinks a big Bo Cephas fan?
100%. Yeah.
On all of that?
All of it. I think he's one of the greatest it's ever been. His body of work speaks for itself, whether you like the guy or not. I know that he's a polarizing figure, but I'm a huge Bo Cephas fan. I can't, it would take me 10 minutes to sit here and remember all the junior songs I played in the honky tonks coming up through the years.
If you had the chance, last question. Well, there's two more little one. The last one's a thought, and I'm letting the great Cody Jinks go. Baseball, NFL, MLB, NBA, NHL. You have some great teams in Texas. Which sport does Cody Jinks pick if he has to go watch a professional sporting event?
First would be football. My wife and I's thing is we visit a different NFL stadium every year. I think we've got we've done 13 or 14 different, and then us being on the road and being able to catch a game here and now, I think I've probably been to 15, 16, 17 of the stadiums. So I'd have to see football first, but it's hard to hit football games when you're on tour because you may be in a big city that has a football game. There's only 15 or 16 cities that have one every Sunday. But if we can catch a baseball game, I'm definitely going to go to a park and watch a baseball game. I love baseball. My Rangers are finally starting to do some good this year. Got rid of John Daniels. Yeah.
They got Bruce Bochy. They got Bochy as the manager.
Got the Boch in there, man. So, just took care of the Yankees pretty handily. So I'd say football first and then baseball.
I'm a baseball guy. Last thought. If there are going to be covers on this duo and duet album, just keep it in mind of you. And well, I don't even know. Are you friends with Cody Cannon and Whiskey Myers? I know that you're a fan. You played.
Yeah.
These guys are great, in my opinion. You are a fan and a respectful friend of these guys. Please, if you can, take a Bo Cephas song called "Feeling Better" and do it with Cody Cannon on this album or live. You guys would kill it. "Feeling Better." If you guys and girls out there listening have never heard Bo Cephas from I think it was 1974, the year I was born, album. And it's also on his on his Greatest Hits Volume 2, I believe. Don't quote me on that. But "Feeling Better," Cody Jinks, please do it with Cody Cannon. The two Codys doing "Feeling Better."
I tell you what, first off, I love Whiskey Myers. We've played with them a bunch. I think the world of them as our peers. And Cody is a bass fisherman, and I am too. And he started Toad Thumper. Started Toad Thumper, and he sends me a bunch of good shit every year. About 3 weeks ago, I opened up the mailbox and had 10 or 12 packs of soft plastics, and it was it's like Christmas for me. So yeah, I think the world of those guys. I'll check that song out after we're done with this.
"Feeling Better," Cody Jinks and Cody Cannon. Awesome. Man, thank you so much. I'm proud that you would come on here and spend your time with us, and I can't wait to see another live show. Thank you, Cody Jinks.
You're welcome, Chad. Hey, I appreciate you. Thank you for your time, and yeah, man, we'll see you around.
Can we please go on a duck hunt this year? Or maybe I'll come down to Texas. I'll come down to Texas and me, you and Cody go catch rip some lips, I think they say.
Ripping lips. I only got to go duck hunting one time last year.
Yeah, I know. I saw it and I was jealous. I was like, dang it, I want
one
that.
trip.
Well, maybe this year we can make something happen if it coincides with your busy schedule.
I hope so. Yeah, because every week my tour schedule is increasing, and y'all can't see it online, but I can see it on my app I have on my phone. So I don't know. We're going to see how busy they keep me through the end of the year.
I can't wait to get the new album, my man. Congratulations on all the success, and thank you again for being here.
Life on earth won't last too long, so what you gonna do when the money's all gone?